Okay, so this is the piece of music that I did for the PDCon in November. It's the best, the most advanced context network I've developed so far. I'll just talk you through it. The whole thing is being powered by these two green contexts up here, 29 and 27. So all they're doing is going A, B, A, B. So the whole music, the whole piece of music is powered by that structure, which isn't very adventurous, but I wanted to keep it simple for the first time. These numbers here, it's a bit like a mixing desk. What they're doing is they're just choosing other sections of the network which function as the sort of instruments, or at least the control for other instruments. If I just, I'll strip it down a little bit and it will become more clear. Immediately it's more clear, right? If I take the drums away there, then this time the bass drum will come in the second round, but not the first round. I think it's intuitive. Just take the sample away because you've heard it enough. I'll just go with some of the more interesting things in this. I'll start with this number 38. You see this, so this file is number 38. That then goes to here. This number 38 is just functioning as a selector. This is just choosing randomly between 37 and 39. 37 and 39, here's 37, here's 39. So we'll look at them each individually. This will just give you an idea of how I'm using context to make melodies here. So 37, this is just a little melody here. Now these numbers here are negative numbers, which means that they're not connected to other contexts. They are instead playing a melody. It's not very clear, but it's a bit more clear in the new version. It'll still be a point of confusion though. It's clearer in the new one because if you go, the numbers which are connected to another context have a little C in front of them. And then the numbers that are not connected don't have a negative sign, it's just a positive sign. That number means they're being, actually you can see that equal sign means read every step, read the number. And then the hash means this is going to be interpreted as a note. So actually it's going up here being interpreted, and you can see the scale. And for fun, you can go something like this. You can go Dorian, and then and then suddenly you change the whole melody, which isn't a very good idea, but it's fun to show that you can do it. Okay, so this melody 37 is playing, and you'll see here, it's at the end. It's either going to go to 37 or to blank. So it's either going to repeat itself or it's going to end. So in other words, this is a little phrase which will repeat either once or just 0 times or X number of times. Sometimes it goes 3 or 4 times before it ends, which means that there's a nice sort of random element to this.
So what happens if you put a 2 in the blank space?
Yeah, good question. Let's see. I don't know what'll happen. If I put a 2 there, oh look at that! It starts this other part of the network. Doesn't sound very. A 6. I'm doing this just by double clicking and shifting up, by the way. 6. Can you find 6? Doesn't seem to be doing much. I don't know where number 6 is, or maybe there isn't a 6. Incidentally, one of the improvements in the new version of the software, big improvement, I think, is that there's a find function. So, because all of these numbers, it's impossible to find them. I can't demonstrate it, but I could type into a box here, find 6, and then wherever there's a number 6, it'll just jump out, it'll shake around on the screen. Very, very useful for larger networks. Okay, so that's 37. 39 will go down here, and these are 3. There are 3 different little melodies, just with two notes each, and they're going to sort of pass around a bit like a game of tennis between them, again randomly. And then in each case there's an open box at the end, so they'll pass around for a few passes, and then it'll come to an end as soon as one of them hits a blank.
What determines the passing around?
It's just a random number. This is.
Where do you put that number?
Oh, you don't. All you need to do is open these toggles. So if I close this one, then 41 isn't going to be on the list, and it's going to choose randomly between 39, 40, and this blank one. You can also change the probability. I could say it's much more likely to be 39 and 40, and I can also say I want perhaps 2 of them to fire, 2 at the same time, but I haven't done that in this. Actually, maybe I could. Let's see what happens if I go here and go. Does this work? not such a good idea to be doing this on the fly. But let's see. I'm having trouble because there's, yeah, there we go. Now, sometimes two of them will fire at once, which is interesting. It might take a while for us to view that. Anyway.
Okay, I'm bored with Pringle.
Yeah, I'm bored with it too. The bass line is quite fun. There's two parts of the bass line. The first part, I call it bass R and bass C. The first part of the bass line is here, and this is just the same simple melody, or not even melody, just a single note. But every fourth time it plays, it's going to trigger this context, or it'll happen the next time, which is going to, there you go. It changes the decay of the bass line.
Why do you have waveforms in some of the contexts?
Yeah, so the waveforms do two things. One, they're samples. That's this right here, playing a sample. And then second is they're controlling the parameter of another one, of anything that you want. So if I put this down here, you'll see now it'll fire every time. So you see this waveform, and if you look up here, this is the bass. The decay is following the envelope of the waveform. So of course I can change that. I can have it do whatever I want. It sort of hangs a bit, which isn't so good. Oh dear. I better. There we go. Fixed it. Okay, so that's one half of the bass line. The other half of the bass line I've called bass R random. That works similarly to the twinkle that you just saw. It's going to pick one of these four instruments here. The difference, and they're going to pass around. The difference is the timing, the duration of each of these four is also random. So they're going to be either a quarter of a second, a half a second, 1 second, or 1.5 seconds from memory. That's the time. So here, I'll make it more frequent.
Where do you change that?
There's a setting inside there which will give you, I'm not going to enter the menu again because it was hard to get out of last time, but there are settings to alter the randomness. So you can see here now, each time it plays, the duration will be different. And sometimes, like there, it all plays at once, so you get this sort of just one note instead of a bunch. And what was nice about the bass line, I thought, this wasn't even deliberate particularly, but they sound really nice together when you have the two interacting with each other. You get a nice. This is the most generative part of the whole piece. Actually, I have little idea about what's going to happen. Okay, so that's the bass line. The percussion is fairly straightforward. Not very. I don't think it sounds very good actually. The only thing I should point out, it's selecting. Just going A, B, A, B here. This, the same as with the bass line, this is controlling the pitch of the drums. So you can have fun drawing those as well. And then more interesting than this though, in the percussion was I made these little fills. I turn on this percussion. Now, here you have, I'll explain this number 24 in just a second, but here number 30, you have another selector. This is functioning as a selector, which is just selecting one of a few fills which can go, which are mostly sample-based. You can see the samples here. There is one fun one, it just played, we'll have to wait for it to come back around, where you can hear the volume changes. This graph here alters the volume of the snap sample which happens there. I think it's the next one. Let's see. There, you see that? You can hear it getting louder. I thought that worked really well. The other fun thing about the percussion is I need to turn more things on to illustrate, make it a bit more busy. If I open up this toggle here, it makes the percussion into a solo. What it does, this toggle stops abruptly all of the other contexts on the patch, apart from the Moto 129. You can see the Moto 29 there, that's the exception, otherwise the piece of music would end. So this gives it a nice sort of solo effect, comes to a very abrupt point. The only real other thing of interest in this patch, I think, is the feedback. There's a lot of lot of feedback. I'll turn it up a bit so that you can hear. And I think I'll get rid of the percussion. So what was happening, if you see this object here, as feedback, this is sending a message to here, which is then choosing between one of these three feedback units, which is just different delays. Different delays. So anytime one of these toggle sends here or here or here, etc., it will send a message there. And then these are completely random how they're chosen. These toggles, I mean, I just sort of connected them randomly. And so anytime one of those fires, there's feedback. What else? What have I missed? Alt. Where do you see alt? Oh yeah, alt. That was just another, the alternative melody. This was core, this one here, and then alt is this one. So this was fun actually. There's something else to mention here. If I remember correctly, this is powering the CZ synth, which is up here. And each time it plays, it picks a different, at the beginning of each time, it picks a different D-tune number. So it's going to be either at an octave, like a 2 or 4, or you can barely hear it there because it's only just the same as, or 3, that's a nice one, that's a perfect fifth. And then the other one, if I go to the core melody, it picks a different configuration. There's 2 synths inside here, so it picks a different configuration. You'll see these numbers changing. And then also you'll see the resolution. Each time a new one is picked, it chooses a random number and sends the resolution here to that new random value in, I think, a second or something like that. Yeah, that looks right. So that gives this a very nice sort of moving effect, I think. So these are really just a very few of the ways in which you can use.
How long did you take with this?
Yeah, good question. This patch took about a week to build, not including the time that it took to build the context software itself, but about a week. So it doesn't happen fast. On the other hand, the new version of the software has a lot of features which do make it easier. It's a lot more stable. And also, of course, the more practice you have at it, the better you get at it. So I think something could, I've challenged myself and said, right, half an hour, I've got to build something musical and I can do it. So it's possible to, but yeah, it does take some time to get these sounding like you want them to sound. Another thing I should mention about this patch actually is that it doesn't sound like I wanted it to sound. It had a completely different, intention for it than what it ended up sounding like. I was fairly happy with how it ended up. But really, the point is, context can sound like anything you want it to sound like. All of the instruments here are incidental. Context doesn't make any of the sound. It can be used to make music in very, very many ways. And so if this piece of music isn't to your liking, it doesn't mean that context won't be to your liking. The idea here is that the user has a great amount of freedom in designing their own sequencing environments, and they can use it in literally hundreds and hundreds of ways. So I'm hopeful. I just can't wait for the day when I see some other user who has built something with context which I couldn't imagine and sounds amazing and wonderful, and I think, wow, that's great. Anything else? Okay, hope you enjoyed the video.